Hey guys, it's Heather. Again, like I say, every video. I'm sorry it's been so long. It's been really, really crazy. Summer semesters are no joke, that's for sure. I don't think I've ever been so busy in my life. I don't think I've ever been so exhausted in my life. It's gonna be worth it, but oh man, this is just not the greatest summer ever. I'm lucky to be in school and I'm lucky that I'm learning so much, but this has been one crazy, crazy ride so far. But anyways, I just wanted to give y'all an update and some tips that I've learned throughout this semester for clinicals. This was our first semester in Med-Surg. We were supposed to get Med-Surg experience in level 2, and unfortunately we didn't. So this has been like a huge whirlwind for most of the people in my class. It's a lot more fast-paced than the rehab setting is, and it's a lot harder to connect the dots of everything and just get your time management down. This semester has had 3 days of clinicals a week and 1 day of class. So I feel like the majority of our time is spent in clinicals. I barely remember class. Honestly, I've been so burned out, I don't even attend the full lectures. I did this past week, but for the past 3 weeks I've been leaving at lunch just because I've been so exhausted and have so much stuff for clinicals to do. Our lectures aren't mandatory, and I've still been doing well without going to the second part of them. I can't really say I recommend skipping part of lecture, but when you're as burned out as I've been, it's sometimes necessary. So, and I've never skipped class before any of the other semesters, so I guess it's okay if I, miss a couple of hours when I do go in the morning for 4 hours. But anyways, yeah, so we have clinicals and our Med-Surg rotation Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 6 to 2. And one of the main things that we've all had to really learn is time management. Get on the floor, get report, get your info about your patients, get their vitals, assess them, document that assessment, get their meds ready, give their meds on time, know stuff about your meds. After that, document that you gave the meds. After that, any procedures they may need, bed change, bed baths, regular baths, anything like that. Then at that time is usually about 11 o'clock. It's time to get your vitals again, check for any noon meds, get lunch ready, start to get yourself collected to go, and stuff like that. We leave the floor at 12:30. We have lunch for 30 minutes, and then we have post-conference from 1 to 2. So it's really crazy. And like I said, one of the main things that every nurse needs, but especially a nursing student, is time management. And I have found it really helpful to make myself a schedule. And so I just wanted to share with y'all what I have done. This says summative schedule at the top, but this is basically the schedule that I try to follow every day. I'm not sure how much of this y'all can see, but basically I just list my goal of having things done in my little note card here to keep myself on track. So if y'all can't read it, basically it says from 6:30 to 7 is when I need to get my report from the nurse, and when I also need to look through my patient's chart to get any pertinent information from the chart that I didn't get from the night shift nurse. Usually I try to look up all their meds really quick to see if they have anything early in the morning, something weird like maybe like a really early Lovenox injection, or if they have insulin, if they're diabetic or anything like that. I also try to look up any labs that may be really important for the morning. I mean, this is just a quick look, guys. I'm usually not writing anything down unless they have a really early morning med. I'm checking to see if, just things that they might not tell you in the report, maybe, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. Usually it's just the meds is the main thing that I'm writing down at that time. I'm also going to check to see what their last vital sign was, just so that I can see if anything's out of the ordinary. And I'm also going to check to see what their intake and output has been, and if they're on any kind of fluid restriction, or what their diet's like, since breakfast will be coming soon. So after that, my schedule says from 7 to 8:30 is when I actually get all my vital signs, I assess my 3 patients, and I document on my 3 patients. I try to split that hour and a half up between getting the vitals and assessing each patient in 15 minutes each, which takes up about 45 minutes. So that leaves 45 minutes left to document and to also get any early meds ready. So I try to say about 10 minutes to document for each patient, hopefully less, but just, just in case, give myself a little bit extra time, and then 15 minutes to get my meds really ready for the morning. And obviously if they had anything really early at like 7 or 7:30, like insulins, I would do that in my other space, and that would obviously take up extra time, but you can't always schedule everything. Life can't be scheduled completely, so that's just something you kind of have to work your way around of for the day. So after that, I'm at 8:30 now, and so that's when I start to get myself, I've assessed my patients, they're alive, they're well, anything out of the ordinary was reported and gotten under control. I've got my vitals for their meds. Hopefully their labs for that day have come in so I can assess those for my meds. And that's when I have a big 30-minute chunk. I try to do 10 minutes per patient to get their meds ready, write them all down, make sure I know the doses, make sure they're all in the patient's lockbox, and writing down any information about the meds that I don't know. And also in that time is when I notify my teacher that, hey, I'm going to be ready to give meds soon, just an FYI. So one of the main reasons, this is the busiest time of the day, is from 6:30 to 9:30 or 10. And one of the main things that you can do to keep yourself organized is to make yourself a brain for your patients here. And I'm not sure how much that you can see of this either, but I made this myself. There's a lot of different ones out there. Our teachers have handed them out, but this is what I found myself kind of doing on my own piece of notebook paper. But basically right here, I have patient blank, and I put their room number there, and I put report info. And this is where when I get report, I can write down all the pertinent info I get during report, because that really helps to speed up the time when you're looking through the charts if you write down what they tell you here. The next blank is for their vital signs at 8 o'clock and at noon. Then I have another place where I assess their pain. Initially, I can write down what the scale was on a 0 to 10, where it's at, and what the intensity is like. And then also reminds me that, hey, each hour I need to go back and reassess that pain. And also that's when I can also do safety checks on my patient. After that, I have a turn schedule in case they do need to be turned, which I found a lot of people do need to be turned. So if you start doing it at 7 when you get there, because they most likely have not been in the same position all night, if they haven't been turned throughout the night, it's better just to get started and you turn them that morning at 7, so then you can go back and reassess at 9. After that, I have an info box right here with all the parts of the body and everything that I'll assess: neuro, cardiac, respiratory, etc., so I don't forget anything. And basically I wrote myself a note by exception only, because I tend to write stuff that are fine, and that saves me a lot of time to remember. Only chart by exception. Oh, their lung sounds were clear, I don't need to write that down. Oh, their lung sounds were hoarse or were coarse, yes, I need to write those down. Oh, their pedal pulses were weak, I need to write that down. If they're normal, I don't need to write that down. Other things that you can write down though that are important every time: alert and oriented ×3, last bowel movement, stuff like that is really important to note. Then down here I have a blank to assess the IV site for any signs of phlebitis or infiltration. And then I have a thing, which we're doing IVs for the first time this semester, which has been an issue for me. I have a blank here that says tubing change every 96 hours, because that's the policy at my facility. The rate and the solution, which needs the primary bag, needs to be changed every 24 hours, every day. And I also have a thing to remind myself, does this match with the MAR, with the MAR? Because I have a tendency to forget to check that on my MAR against what's actually in my patient's room. So I have a thing that I need to write down what I see on the MAR when I'm getting my initial patient info, and then when I go in the room with this, when I do their assessment, I can check, okay, 1,000 mLs of normal saline hanging, check. The tubing was, put on July 20th, today's the 22nd, check, it's still good. The rate is 100 mLs an hour. Did it say that was what it should be at on the MAR? Check, okay? So that's how I get that, organized in my brain to check and make sure, because IVs are really, they're really serious. They're going into the patient's veins, so you can't take that back. So you need to make sure that they're, they're good. And my final thing I have down here are my medications. I have them broken up in 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10, 11, and 12. I don't usually see 10 or 11 o'clock meds really, but I have them there just in case. But I left the biggest blank for 9, because that's usually when meds are given, is 9 o'clock. And I have the 7 o'clock there just for insulins and any, odd medicines that may need to be given really early. Like I said, I've seen a lot of Lovenox injections that are given at 6, which I wouldn't give because I'm not there at 6, but you know, just in case. And then I have a blank for the 12 o'clock meds just because there's, you know, insulins that got cut off, but there's, you know, insulins and stuff like that at 12. So yeah. After that, that's like my main flow sheet for the day, like I said, for that big bulk of time that I talked about initially. So after that, I prepare to give my meds from 9 to 9:30. There's a window at my facility that you can give meds 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after. So from 9 to 9:30 is my window that I really try to give my meds. I give myself a little bit of extra time just because I am, you know, still learning, and we have to have our teacher there, so that takes up time. So I say, you know, 9:30 hopefully, but 9:45 is when I really need to be done. Then I say from 9:45 to 10, I take a break if possible, if I need one. I'm sure by then I'm getting hungry and I might need to pee or something. So that's when I say that if I really need to take a break, I've got 15 minutes to go do it and get it done. Then the next thing that I say on here is from 10 to 11, I'm going to check to see if any procedures need to be done. And if not, that's when I'm going to do their baths and linen changes. It's early enough that they're not going to it's not going to interfere with lunch, but it's late enough that they've, you know, kind of gotten a break from everybody poking and prodding them in the morning after their meds. But they most likely aren't too comfortable yet to where they'll be bothered by a bath, and that after their bath they can feel better and relax and have a really nice lunch. And so then I say from 11 to 12 is when, if there weren't any procedures at 10 or 11, or from 10 to 11, I do those then, or vice versa. If there were, that's when I would do the linen changes and bed baths and stuff. But I also am really making sure I reassess all 3 of my patients, and I also get ready to do their afternoon vitals and double checking if they have any noon meds or insulin or anything like that. And then I say from 12 to 12:30 is when I really just start to wind down for the day. I make sure I did everything as much as I possibly could, as well as I possibly could. I get their noon vitals, see if they need anything else before I leave, and I try to leave a report for the nurse. And after that, I am done. I am exhausted, most likely. So that's basically how I get organized for clinicals. I hope I didn't talk too fast or confuse anybody, but it's really important to have a sheet like this to get yourself organized. And my teacher really wants us to have all of our patients on one sheet, and that's honestly going to be really hard for me. I feel more organized when I have a separate sheet for each of my patients, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. I think it should be what you feel comfortable with, but that's what my teacher wants, so I'm going to try to get that somehow condensed onto one sheet for 3 people, but I'm just not sure how possible that is for me. So yeah, basically you can't control everything. Like I said, today I went to go hang some medicine on my patient's IV, and it turned out that her IV was infiltrated, so I had to take out the IV and I had to start a new one, and I was not expecting to do that today, so that was a really great experience. I didn't get the IV. It didn't take, so that was disappointing, but I'm glad I got the experience. And obviously that was not really part of my plan, since I was planning on only giving her the antibiotic at or the medication at like 11:30. It was due at 12, but you know, you have 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after, so I decided to go ahead and get it done. That ended up being an ordeal. I didn't even get to take a lunch. I didn't get out of there until 1 o'clock. So you just kind of have to plan for, or you can't plan for that stuff. You kind of have to be able to work your way around that stuff. So yeah, like I said, this has been a crazy semester, guys. I only have tomorrow, and then I have 1 more week of clinicals, and then I have my final, and I will be done with level 3, and I'll be moving on to level 4 at the very end of August, which is crazy. I can't believe it. But anyways, guys, I'm sure this video has been way too long as it is. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go, stop watching and everything. But y'all guys have a great semester. I hope this maybe helped you out a little bit, and if y'all have any questions or comments for me, just leave them below, and y'all have a great rest of the summer, and I will hopefully talk to y'all sooner rather than later. Bye.